Hey everyone, happy Wednesday, and I hope you're all doing very well. I am not here for Brain Smart Start, but for recreational therapy time, right? Since we're doing different activities, I decided that since today is actually National Empanada Day, uh, that being the case, we're going to look at one of my favorite countries that give one of my favorite empanadas, Argentina, right? We're just going to go through and we're going to see all of these things that take place in Argentina. We're going to look at different parts of their culture, different parts of the country, right? And we're going to see different types of food. And on top of that, we're going to see empanadas and how they do theirs specifically. Okay, guys? Let us begin. All right, so as you can see, this is Argentina, right? They have various mountains and people who are constantly going through these different trails and through these different fields, right? You have people here on these horses, beautiful horses, and the weather looks incredible. They're wearing some jackets. It seems that isn't too bulky, but not too thin, so it's probably a little cold, but nothing that, anybody can't handle. As you can see here, it's lively, as they say. So everybody is always either, talking or eating together or drinking wine together or dancing, right? They're famous for the tango. I don't know if you knew that. But basically, in Argentina, the tango is a very, very serious dance that they have basically invented and pioneered. Very colorful, right? So here we have a few. This is actual architecture. This is not a drawing or a painting or anything like that. And they have all of these different colors on their buildings and in their infrastructures. And it's very, very beautiful. And they tend to really take pride in stuff like that, okay? All right, let's move on. Okay, so Argentina is a vast country. It stretches to the tip of South America, okay? It is the 8th largest country in the entire world. In the entire world, it is number 8. And so, mind you, you might think, oh, it's 8, right? It's not number 1 or number 2 or something like that. But think about it. There's hundreds of countries, and it's number 8 in size. That's a pretty big deal. Okay, and so this, if you can see right here, sorry, I'm covering the projector here, but Argentina is right here at the tip of South America. I hope you guys can see that. So we have over 44 million people in Argentina, right? It's a good amount of people. Maybe not as much as here, but think about it. For as big as it is, in all of America, we have 300 and something million people, right? That's a lot of people. Now they have 44 million, which is basically like almost there, right? And they have a much smaller country than we do. So you can imagine all those people like jam-packed into there. This is the architecture that I was talking about. The buildings, right? They look super nice and very, very cool. It looks very much like Europe, like a European style of architecture or buildings. And so as you can see here, we have vendors on the street. Vendors are basically people who sell things on the side of the road, or vendors in general are just people who sell things. But specifically here, we have people selling things on the side of the road, whether it's artwork, fabric, food, you name it. They have everything, right? They're just selling things constantly, and business seems booming in this picture, right? Maybe not now because of the virus. Maybe everyone's indoors, but for the most part, usually people are always circulating and moving around and buying things, and the economy's constantly moving. You have people here, as you can see, they're playing music, right? So it's not just selling things, but rather they're also performing for people. A lot of times people like to, just sit down as they're, they'll get a bite to eat, right? Whatever it is, maybe they're getting an empanada, right? And they'll sit down, they'll relax, and they'll enjoy some people who like to play music for them. And so it's pretty cool because you get to enjoy a lot of their culture in like one sitting, right? And so yeah, let's move on to the next page. Okay, there's every kind of landscape in Argentina. So what this means is that you can see mountains, forests, and deserts all in the same country, right? So, forgive me if I mispronounce this, but Aconcagua, I believe is how you say it, is Argentina's tallest mountain. It's the highest point in South America. So they are the 8th largest country in in the world, and they have the mountain with the tallest tip in South America. So that's pretty cool, right? The country, like we said, also has flat grasslands, right? You might confuse something like this with like a plain in Africa, right? Somewhere where you maybe don't think it's in South America, but it is, right? The flatland is also called pampas, right? So that's what they would name this type of land. But yeah, they have all different types of scenery in Argentina, making it a vast, huge, I guess you could say, collage of different types of landscapes. So very beautiful. Let's move on. Okay, farmers. Farmers are a big deal in Argentina, as they herd a lot of cows, right? So farmers raise millions of cattle. Cattle is just the word for cows in general. On the pampas. So remember the pampas we just talked about were those flat plains, right? So they are able to raise millions of different cows on the pampas, right? The cattle graze on the tall grasses, right? They just walk around, they eat the grass. The cowboys, who are called gauchos there, are the ones who are in charge of caring for each of the different cattle, right? So they are kind of like the shepherds for sheep, but they do it for cows, right? They call them gauchos, like we just said. Okay, that's a picture of a gaucho with a horse, right? It doesn't always have to be just cows, obviously, but yeah, see, that's a typical gaucho gear, as you can see there. Here are some cows, and the farmers tend to also grow wheat, soybeans, and corn on the pampas. Okay, so they don't just raise cows. They also have different vegetables growing, and different things like that. Okay. All right. So many wild animals call Argentina home. We have the Andean condor, which is a bird, as you can see. It is pretty big. So giant condors fly in the skies in Argentina, right? We have elephant seals who relax along the coast. Elephant seals are these type of seals who look like that. They're a little more vicious than your regular average seal. This seal specifically hunts penguins, and when, if they're located in Antarctica, they will do that. I don't know what they would eat here, but they're pretty intense, right? Not something to be messed with. Over here we have guanacos, which look like an alpaca, but they roam Argentina. And like we just said, they look like an alpaca, they look like a llama, but it is in the same family. However, it's not an actual llama. It's a little different. Okay, so like as you can see, they're roaming the pampas and having the time of their lives. Okay, next page. All right, Argentina has a long history. Native people have lived there for thousands of years, right? Not just hundreds, thousands of years. Remember, here in America, we may be a little young as a country, right? We're not even 300 years old. However, countries like this in South America and in Europe and in Asia have been around for thousands of years. So, that being the case, since Argentina probably looked a lot different before this period, I'm going to tell you something that happened that made it look a lot more like it looks today. The Spanish arrived in 1516. So what does this mean? So I don't know if many of you know, probably do, because you've heard before in history and whatnot. But the Spanish conquered a lot of the known world today. This includes Argentina, and they ruled Argentina for 300 years. 300 years, the Spanish, aka Spain, basically had ownership over all of Argentina. And so finally in 1816, Argentina became independent from Spain. So they were able to become their own country. They didn't have to listen to Spain anymore. They could do their own thing, experience their own culture, and eventually deliver some of the best food that exists on the planet. Okay, let's move on. All right, there are many big cities in Argentina. The largest one is Buenos Aires, which just so happens to be the capital. Okay? So the capital is the main city of any country. So the main city of this country, Argentina, is Buenos Aires. Okay? So around 14 million of the 44 million live in Buenos Aires. There's a park in the city that's home to hundreds of cats. It's just a little fun fact, right? In this park, it's like known that if you walk in there, you're going to find tons of cats just walking around. People are probably feeding them, and they're having babies, so there's even more cats. It's just cats galore, okay? Hopefully not like the movie. But anyway, let's continue. Buenos Aires, in Buenos Aires, people stroll around La Recoleta Cemetery, right? So this is a cemetery called La Recoleta, and it's so big that it looks like a small city. Now, this is actually kind of typical in European countries. When I went to Scotland a few years back, we witnessed some cemeteries that were massive, super big, and they aren't just like your average cemetery that's kind of like a bunch of little gravestones and then one or two little big ones. This is like, it's insane. Like, you have to walk up hills and come across these massive structures that are like 20 feet tall, and people were buried there from hundreds of years ago. And it's the same with here, right? There are people who walk around, they have lunch there. It's very typical to just hang out during, or at a cemetery. Because it's very beautiful, right? They love the scenery, as do I, and I'm sure as would you if you're able to go there and see it yourself. So, that being said, they view many of the tombs to be works of art. So this means that whenever they see a tomb, it's not just a way to say, oh, this person was here and they are no longer here anymore because they passed away. It's a way to show artwork, right? And they really take pride in showing how beautiful the artwork might be for a specific person, right? At least in Scotland, it might not be the case here, but in Scotland, it was the more rich the person was, the more beautiful the artwork might have been on the gravestone. And I'm sure it's like that here, makes the most sense, but let's just assume that for now. So the cemetery covers 14 acres. That's almost the size of 11 football fields. So that's how big this cemetery is. 11 football fields. Think about that, right? Next time you drive by a cemetery in Miami, imagine if that was 11 football fields long or big. All right. Spanish is Argentina's main language. This is how you say welcome in Spanish. Bienvenidos, right? Some of you know that. And then they love the word flower because it represents a lot of beautiful things in their country. So flor is how you say that. I know a lot of you guys know Doña Flor from the WOW Center. So just give her a thought, right? I wish her well, if you can. And as you can see, there's a huge flower sculpture in Buenos Aires. And Buenos Aires means good weather in Spanish. So basically, the flower represents the receiving of the good weather. So basically they are blessed with good weather, and that's what this flower that typically represents, right? Okay, here we go. Food, right? Everybody's favorite thing, at least for the most part. You know, everyone loves food, right? So Argentina is famous for its food. A favorite meal is parrillada, as they say, or barbecue, right? They love to barbecue. Let me tell you, they love to barbecue. And when they do, it is incredible. I have firsthand experience, as you or may not know. I am with an Argentinian, so I tend to have a lot of food from Argentina, and so it's pretty amazing. And they love fruit. They eat more fruit than any other people group in the world. That I did not know. So that is very interesting, right? And then also people love to enjoy empanadas, and like we said, today is National Empanada Day. So, you know, these little pies are stuffed with cheese, vegetables, and meat. And sometimes they don't have meat, sometimes it may just be ham and cheese, but most of the time that I've eaten them, they look like this, where they have some egg inside, they have some veggies, and then they have meat, and then everything is homemade and it's delicious, right? All right. Sports. So many of you may know that Lionel Messi is from Argentina. People love soccer or football if you're in England or the UK, right? They adore it. Fans go wild over their favorite teams. Polo, if you don't know what polo is, it's the sport where you're on the horse and you have to hit the ball in through the little hoops. Polo is another super popular sport in Argentina. So, let's move on. Like we said earlier, the tango is a famous dance. Couples move their feet quickly, they spin, they leap, and they hold special positions. And so the tango usually is accompanied by the playing of an accordion. So it's not just dance, tango, but it's a type of music as well. It's often played, like I said, with the accordion, but also with guitars and violins as well. The dances are very breathtaking and very intimate. If you've ever seen Dancing with the Stars, you might have seen some people do tango before. Okay? All right, let's move on. Over 5 million people visit Argentina each year. Iguazu Falls is a stunning spot, as they say in this picture here. The waterfalls are among the biggest in the world. Okay? Cerro Catedral is a ski resort in the south. It draws many, many visitors each year. Okay. Fast facts, really quick. We have the capital city is Buenos Aires. Population of Argentina is over 44 million. Main language is Spanish. The money in Argentina, well, the Argentinian money is called pesos, Argentinian pesos, as you say. Major religion is Roman Catholic, and the neighboring countries include, neighboring countries meaning that the ones that are next to it are Chile, Bolivia, Paraguay, Brazil, and Uruguay, right? Those 5 are the ones that are surrounding Argentina, okay? A little cool fact, some of the biggest dinosaurs that ever existed once lived in what is now Argentina. One is called the Argentinosaurus. This is a little fun fact for you guys who like history and dinosaurs and stuff like that. One of the largest dinosaurs that ever lived in Argentina. And so, yeah, let's move on. And we're almost done. We have a few indexes here, and the author, if you'd like to know, is Joyce Markovics. And so she loves exploring the cemetery under a moonlit sky, and that's what kind of motivated her to be able to make this entire little book that we read about Argentina. And I'm assuming that she either is from Argentina or that she just adores it very, very much. Okay?